Good people, as we have seen many Star Wars fans that have been speaking out about the Acolyte and just how truly awful this show is. I mean, it's so bad that the writers of this show, if in another country, may go straight to jail
Right to jail right away.
for this one. Now, the writers and the main actress have come out against the fans, of all people, going right into the same old bag of accusing everyone who doesn't like this show of being racist and all kind of phobic and woman hating. But that said, there's enough videos out here speaking about the wokeness in these last two episodes and just how truly mind numbing that stuff is. But in today's video, I'm actually going to not talk about any of that stuff, but instead, I'm going to just talk about just why I believe this show actually is truly that bad
It's garbage.
and deserves every bit of this Rotten Tomato score. The problem that I mentioned in my Why Star Wars is Dead video, so if you haven't gone to check that out yet, please do. But there is a lack of understanding about Star Wars, which causes major contradictions to the already well established story. Let's take, for example, in this latest episode, in episode 4, where Keanu Mundi just happens to be alive, but anyway, is speaking with the other Jedi about May, who I will get to here in a little bit, but having killed two Jedi Masters and coming to the understanding that she has a master that has been training her as well. He mentions that they should report this to the Jedi Council, but then decides to go along with an idea to not tell the Jedi Council. I mean, and mind you, Keanu Mooney, by the way, is a guy who we later, saw in the Phantom Menace sitting on the Jedi Council, who in his own lore is known to make the right choice, even if it's harsh. You trying to tell me that he wouldn't have told the council about this? On top of that, unless they are somehow going to spin this, I don't know how they're going to do it, but and how they're going to be able to square this circle of him actually being alive, considering in Legends continuity, he was born years later after this. I know the wiki page was updated to reflect that, he was alive during this period, but look, man, we already the fans, we already know what the game is. So yeah, we ain't falling for that. Look, I know they want to paint the Jedi in this show out to be the bad guys, and up until this point, they have done a piss poor job of doing that. I mean, they had an opportunity to actually do that if they truly wanted to, I believe, back in episode 3, but the minute they made the offer to Osha and May to become Jedi and take the training, if they wanted to, yeah, that kind of lost the plot of the Jedi being bad people. Speaking of plot, which this show and its writers clearly know nothing about, the biggest plot hole that they just opened for no good reason, really, was made going from I need to kill the Jedi's that wiped out my family to all of a sudden reformed killer turning a new leaf on life and wanting to turn herself in because of reasons? Your guess is as good as mine as to why she would do that, and it can't be because she found out her sister was alive. Maybe they are convinced that the people that would watch this show doesn't have a cognizant functioning brain because we saw the twins, standing on that bridge and then seemingly falling off that bridge at the same time, and so ends up, saving Osha, and I'm pretty sure that May noticed her sister not falling, with her anymore since her sister fell a little bit before her. Plus, when she hit the ground, got back up. I don't know. Maybe, she would have looked to find a body or something. But hey, maybe, she's only 9 years old, according to the episode, I guess, or around 9 years old. So maybe she just, doesn't have that type of keen sense of awareness yet to maybe try to look for her sister who maybe fell with her. Also, I'm sure that once she actually, got older and started looking into the Jedi who killed her family, that she would have found out that her sister was still alive because, again, in Star Wars continuity, Jedi and their Padawans are public knowledge that she could have easily found out, like she was able to find out the names of the Jedi that she wanted to kill, but whatever, whatever. They forget that that didn't happen, but yeah, just no consistency in this story. No thought out consistency anyway. It makes me feel like I did when I watched episodes 7, 8, and 9, and the story there wasn't consistent from movie to movie. And then we later actually found out that the reason for that was that they brought in new directors and writers for each of those movies. Like, why in the world would you do that if you're actually making a trilogy? And it wouldn't surprise me if each of these episodes had different writers for each, because if the same crew of writers wrote this, it's going to be hard for them to find a job in film. Well, unless they have connections, which they clearly do, to get on and write this type of script and keep their job. Also, so the next point is, so we are 4 episodes in, and I still don't know what the overall plot of this show is. In my opinion, the show needed to let fans have a basic understanding of what the plot is. And I thought it was, May getting revenge on the Jedi, but we know that ain't it. And I highly doubt they're going to somehow do this double cross thing after she decided, I'm going to turn myself in. It can't be the Jedi are bad because that ship sailed. So what's the plot? What's the point? What's the point of the show? Just awful writing. They have a couple of episodes left to make that point, but I wouldn't hold my breath that it's actually going to make sense without completely killing more of the Star Wars lore as they have already done. My last point I want to make is what I believe is the obvious villain of the show is, or the person behind the mask. I would bet all the money I have, which trust me ain't that much, is not going to be a woman, but instead is going to be who the Star Wars community has dubbed Discount Ezra Miller. I could be wrong about this, but I feel that they are going to steal the plot. The one from Naruto, for anybody who's an anime fan out there, where Toby turned out to not be this clown of a character, but who the ninja world believed to be, Mamoru Uchiha, the main bad guy at the time. Wouldn't shock me at all, because why is his character actually still around? He's just a common crook who killed the original shop owner and took over his shop, and to do this without the locals coming to question or investigate him, yeah, it just lets me know he's got some force powers to, manipulate folks. To me, this is such a dead giveaway, and it's just more lazy writing and storytelling that's causing people, in my opinion, to dislike this show. And I'm not surprised, since we know that this show, directed by Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant, is more about pushing her agenda and beliefs instead of just telling a good story. Even if you took the Star Wars, name and brand out the title, this show would still be terrible. And that's without the mentioning of any woke agenda stuff that's plastered throughout the show. At this point, I'm just watching, in all honesty, just to see how bad this train wreck is going to be. And ladies and gents, I have a feeling, I have a hunch that even with all that we've seen so far, that we still haven't seen the worst yet.